G'day to all the nice people out there watching this video. Thank you for coming to my channel and have a browse. My name is George. Let's get on with today's message of hope, 25th of May 2026. Okay, you've probably seen them by now. Let me tell you more. You've probably seen them even if you haven't gone looking, because the internet is just buzzing with it. You see, the video opens with a small round object. Looks like a dim sum bun steamer. You know, the kind you see at any yum cha table. I love my yum cha. Put in a comment below if you're one of those people who love yum cha. In fact, I can eat it every day. Back to the story. Now, in a video, a child's hands lifts the lid and it makes a soft pop as it opens. Sitting inside is a squeezed toy shaped like a manju bun. Go look it up, manju, M-A-N-J-U. It's pale, round, and it's unremarkable too. Now, until the body of the toy catches the light and the whole thing erupts in glitter. That's how it becomes unremarkable. Morning. Could be gold, could be pink, every color at once. Oh yes. Now the reaction, it's immediate. The reaction is uncontrollable and it's pure reaction as well. Now I've watched several of these unboxing videos and what struck me isn't the toy itself. No. It's the faces. Yeah, the face of the boys, the girls, even adults who should probably know better, all of them completely undone by the same moment. The glitter version appearing, that is. Now these toys work on a gacha mechanic. Gacha, that's G-A-C-H-A. That is, you don't know what you're getting until you open it. And the rare glittery one is what everyone is chasing. It's chasing those Pokemon monsters, right? Not that I play with Pokemon. I ask you to stay away from that stuff. Now, that not knowing is the whole point, okay? The surprise. Apparently, one of the most talked about trends in the American toy market right now is those manju buns that I just talked about. And this is why social media can sway people doing things. Do you remember the ice bucket episode not too long ago? Yeah, it went viral, right? Even my son went on it. And I told him, what are you doing that for? Anyway, I found myself asking a question that had nothing to do with toys. Are you ready? The question is, what does something so simple do that to us? That manju bun is just an example of it. Because here's the thing I cannot escape. I have been that child before. You have too, I suspect. Several times, in fact. And across several decades in my life, at least. In considerably less forgivable packaging, I would admit. Now, I was 10 or 11 when my brother gave me a Nintendo Game & Watch. Boy, that was a big thing in those days. If you're a kid in the early 80s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Again, put in a comment if you ever received one of those. Which version did you have? Was it the parachute? Was it the fireman jump? Let me know. Those things are worth quite a lot these days. Okay? Now, these, if you don't know, these are a small handheld device. It's only got one single game. It's got tiny little LCD screen. And my brother handed it to me out of guilt. But I'll save that guilt, the reason for it, another day. And tell you what, I was completely certain this was the thing I always needed and don't need any other toy ever. The thing that would finally satisfy, I thought. Yeah, you betcha. I played it with intensity. The type of intensity that only a child can summon. Yep. And then slowly and quietly, the shine came off. I play a lot of games on it, that's for sure. The game hadn't changed, of course, but something in me did. I started wanting the next title. Because they just keep bringing more and more new interesting games. Like the Mickey Mouse ones, right? Or the Donkey Kong. That's great. Of course, then there's one after another. Okay, That feeling, needing the next thing, I've carried it in various forms ever since. Now, so you fast forward to my parenthood, me as being a parent, my youngest wanted a trumpet. He was going to play in his high school band. And of course, when your child wants to make music, something new wants to give him every chance to love it. Why wouldn't you? So we bought him a new one. Yeah, new, not a second hand. A proper trumpet. I can't remember the brand, but it wasn't cheap. Tell you what, within 2 years, the interest in him was totally gone, dead. I want to be fair to him, giving him the best we reasonably could at that time was the right call. And I still carry a quiet hope that one day, maybe when he's older, he'll pick it up again and find something in it that a teenager couldn't quite reach. That's entirely possible, isn't it? But I'll be honest, watching a new instrument go silent in 2 years, hey, that's not a feeling that sits lightly on a parent. Because you pay good money on it, right? And then let me tell you the story of a deep fryer. This is the era before air fryers became the appliance everyone and their grandmother wants, right? One day, I went with my colleague. I walked into a specialty kitchen shop in South Melbourne, and I bought a deep fryer. Don't ask me why, okay? But when I bought it, I had plans. I told my kids I was going to make GFC, George Fried Chicken, because it's my personal tribute to the Colonel, and I think it'll be better. Plus it should be cheaper because I made it. I mean, everyone was flashing their fancy KFC recipe. So heck, I'll try it out myself. Let's see if it really works. I'm going to tell you, it did not turn out to be better. Passable at best. I used to deep fry it twice. The chicken was really ordinary, yeah. But the cleanup was extraordinary. Not in a good way. So I was sitting there in the storage room. I decided I'll sell it at a loss. George never stood a chance, you see. So if this is resonating with you, please go ahead and subscribe. After all, there's more of this kind of conversation every day on this channel. Give me a thumbs up, give me some encouragement, and share the video far and wide. Okay, so a Nintendo, a trumpet, and a deep fry. I've mentioned all these three. The outside the thing promises what the inside cannot deliver. That's my point. I've known this since I was 10 years old. But as you can see, I keep forgetting, don't I? Now here's what John writes. You find it in the first book of John, chapter 2, verse 15. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Now, I want to say this because I think it's one of the most misread verses in Scripture. Right? I haven't consulted my pastor about my opinion, but here it goes. When John says, don't love the world, I don't think he's not saying the world is ugly, right? I don't think he is saying beautiful things are evil, or that wanting anything is a spiritual failure. I don't think he's doing that, right? He's not recruiting us into joyless minimalism. Again, if you're a minimalist, put in a comment down and tell me how life has changed for you. All right? Now, back to what John was saying. I think he's describing a posture of the heart. Because after all, the question is not whether you have things, but whether the things have you. I'll say it again. The question is not whether you have things, but whether the question is whether the things have you. Very important difference. Now, I remember sitting there watching those unboxing videos. Yeah, they were just shown on TikTok and I think on X. Child after child, adult after adult, and something in me recognized the feeling before my brain named it. Yeah, that held breath moment before the lid comes off. The desperate hoping is the glitter one. I know that feeling. I felt it in the school holidays with a game and watch in my hands. It's not foolishness, it's not weakness. Just part of human beings, right? Unfortunately. What John is pointing at isn't the want itself. I got to go down the steps. Make sure I don't fall down. Hold on. Yeah? Yeah. He's not pointing at What he's pointing at isn't what the wanting itself, it's where the wanting is pointed to. That glitter manju is a masterclass in manufactured design. Right? Pretty clever. The toy itself is simple, but the genius is in the not knowing. Because you open it and you might get something ordinary, or you might get the glitter version, which is what everyone's chasing. And even after you get one, get this, part of you is already wondering about the next one. The more, right? The wanting that never quite settles. Because it was designed that way. It's been done before. Do you remember those Kinder Surprise that's still selling today in supermarkets? That's going on for ages. Obviously it works. Because the mechanic's not new, it's just the oldest mechanic in the human heart. After all, the Game & Watch didn't satisfy me. No, it revealed that what I actually wanted was the next thing, and the thing after that. Listen, the Trumpet doesn't lose its value. My son's attention found somewhere else to live instead. Yeah, and that deep fryer was never really about fried chicken. No, it was actually about just having fun and enjoyment with my family. What we were dealing with here, it's desire itself. And the desire is not the enemy. Let me just say that. But the desire directed the wrong thing, that's where the trouble starts. Right? Jesus' warning is not a prohibition. It's actually a diagnosis, you see. And the question it forces is the most useful one a parent can ask the child, or that any of us can ask ourselves. Yeah? So what am I actually hoping this will give me? Well, that question asked honestly is an act of stewardship. I told you everything's related to Christian stewardship in my channel, right? And now I want to pause and tell you about a man called Alex. I first came across him several years ago when I heard him being interviewed. He was on a Christian radio program, yes, quite a few years ago, right? Now, he was talking about money and stewardship, and I have to say, listen, Australian voices on that subject were rare enough that I paid close attention to it. That's why I listen. What he describes as a version of himself, I recognize. You see, before he became a Christian, he was a stockbroker. I believe was a successful one. And he loved flashy cars. That was his identity. Right? It was the kind of love that expresses itself in the driveway, one after another, yeah? Until, of course, he gave his life and his heart to Jesus. So he tells that car story as a testimony. The cars just lost their pull. Not because someone told him to stop wanting them, but rather because he forced himself to do it. And it happened because the desire simply went somewhere else. His heart reordered itself around something different, something more important. Yeah, something that should gravitate him towards learning more about Jesus. Now, I reached out to him after that interview. We got connected. And I want to say this plainly, Alex is one of the reasons I became a Christian money coach today. His willingness to talk about money from a place of genuine faith rather than performance, it's something remarkable. Now, that mattered to me more than I fully understood at that time. And sometime later, about 2 years before COVID, I was helping promote his Stewardship Summit. I was very diligent, right? I was calling well over 100 churches, right? I ring pastors, inviting them to bring the congregation into a conversation. I genuinely believe those families need it. Just come and listen, right? No. One pastor I remember clearly. He told me he didn't need to attend because he was a financial planner himself. Yeah, and he made it very clear there was nothing for him to learn. Whew. Well, when I heard that, I didn't want to argue. How can you, right? He's already set in his mindset. I remember feeling after I put down the phone, it wasn't anger, but something more quiet than that, because it was more like a sadness, because I had a sense of what was coming. Now, not COVID specifically, because I didn't see it 2 years before that, but the financial fragility sitting beneath the surface of most congregations. That I could see. Families who had never been taught to handle money well. Yeah, and those families who would need shepherding through a crisis, nobody saw coming. Fast forward, post-COVID, that church, the one near my home, the one I just talked about, the financial planner pastor, it's no longer operating in my area. Maybe they moved somewhere, I don't know. I don't want to say that with much satisfaction because it's the wrong attitude, right? By saying the way you mention a thing you saw coming and hope you were wrong about. God bless that pastor. And what Alex taught me and what that experience confirmed is that conversation is urgent, right? It's not an option. People's lives and faith are bound up in how they handle what God has placed in their hands. All right, so here we are. The glitter manju is selling out in stores. The kids are losing their minds over a squeeze toy with sparkles. Can you believe that? And friend, I'm not here to tell you not to buy it. It looks like a fun thing to do. But if you're a parent, here's a question worth asking your child before you do. Yeah, it's not designed to suppress the wanting, not to make them feel guilty for being a child who wants a shiny new object, but just to open a small door in their thinking that might stay open for the rest of their life. Yeah? Why do we want this so much? And what do we think is going to feel like after we open it? Gee, I wish someone had asked me that before the Game & Watch. I wish I asked it before I handed over money for a Trumpet I hope would last. I definitely wish I asked it before I attempted George fried chicken. That would save me quite a few bucks. And if you're not a parent, ask about yourself. About whatever your version of the glitter toy is right now. You know what that is. Again, let me remind you what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6, verse 21. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Yeah, it's not where your heart is, there your treasure will be. It's the other way around. You put your treasure somewhere first and your heart follows it. See my friend Alex, he put his treasure in the cars until something arrived that was worth more and his heart followed that instead. Good on you, Alex. He found the love of the Father and the cars just became cars. Yeah, and you see, my son put his treasure in the Trumpet. Again, it's my prayer and hope maybe one day he finds his way back to it and it means more because it came to it himself. All right, well, that's a lot I've spoken today. My friends, my question to you is, where is yours moving? Yeah, where's your heart? Because John got it right and so did Jesus. The love of the Father is not in competition with beautiful things. It shouldn't. It simply satisfies in ways that beautiful things cannot. So where your heart is, that's where your treasure is, that is where your heart will be also. So put it in somewhere that lasts. And that's my message of hope today. Thanks for hanging around with me. I really appreciate it. Again, if you're not a subscriber, I'm going to encourage you to do so. I just love people commenting. I love it. They give me some really good ideas. You take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.